Hello, Arlington students and families. My name is Lauren Mosley, and I'm a reading specialist at Dr. Charles R. Drew Elementary School, and I'm back again to talk to you more about phonemic awareness. This week, or over the next 2 weeks, our phonemic awareness will be a little bit different. We'll still be adding, blending, and substituting, but over the next 2 weeks, we'll be thinking about blends. As you remember, a blend is when two letters are right next to each other and they don't make a new sound. They still say they're individual sounds, but we blend them together. So as you know, S&T says st. In our lessons today, the first letter will stay the same. The blend, or the second letter, is the one that will change. So sometimes we'll delete one, sometimes we'll add a blend, and sometimes we will substitute the blend. All right, so as a reminder, that first letter is not going to change, and the end part of the word is not going to change. It's just this second letter we're kind of looking at. So I won't be using my hands for these ones. All right, let's get started. As always, we'll do a practice one, and then we'll really get going. All right, so for our first one, just listen to me first. So I would say bees, and you would say bees, and I would say add a r, and you have breeze would be the correct answer. All right, let's give it a try adding, so we are creating a blend. All right, so sock.
Sock.
Add a t, and you have
stock.
Good job. Back.
Back.
Add a ol, and you have
black.
Good. Sigh.
Sigh.
Oh, sorry, sign.
Sign.
Add a p, and you have
spy.
Good. Bite.
Bite.
Add a r, and we have
bright.
Good job. Fee.
Fee.
Add a r, and we have
free.
Good job. Sash.
Sash.
Add a and we have
smash.
Good work. Now we're going to try deleting or getting rid of the blend. So it will sound something like this. I would say sled, and then you would say sled, and I would say take out the ol, and we have said would be the correct answer. All right, let's give it a try. Grab.
Grab.
Take off the r, and we have
gab.
Good. Skunk.
Skunk.
Take off the k, and we have
skunk.
Try that one again. Skunk.
Skunk.
Take off the k, and we have
sunk.
Sunk. Correct. Sneeze.
Sneeze.
Take off the n, and we have
seize.
Good work. Slip.
Slip.
Take off the ol, and we have
sip.
Good. Crane.
Crane.
Take off the r, and we have
cane.
Blocks.
Blocks.
Take off the ol, and we have
box.
Good. Snap.
Snap.
Take off the n, and we have
sap.
Good work. All right, now we're going to try substituting the blend. So it would sound something like this. I would say grow. You would say grow. And then I would say change the r to ol, and we have glow would be the correct answer. Now it's your turn to join me. Spill.
Spill.
Change the p to t, and we have
still.
Sleet.
Sleet.
Change the ol to w, and we have
sweet.
Snack.
Snack.
Change the n to ol, and we have
slack.
Good. Glaze.
Glaze.
Change the ol to r, and we have
graze.
sway.
sway,
Change the w to t, and we have.
stay,
Good job. Speak.
speak,
Change the p to n, and we have.
sneak,
Good. Slate.
slate,
Change the ul to t, and we have.
state,
Good. Last one. Stitch.
stitch,
Change the t to w, and we have.
switch.
Great work practicing some phonemic awareness activities with me today. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Hello, I'm Amanda Dempsey, resource teacher for the gifted at Hoffman Boston Elementary School. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The 5 stems that we're going to work with today include circum, mal, post, equa, and ante. We're going to begin with circum, which means around. An example is circumference. The circumference is the distance around a circle. Next, we have circumnavigate. A ship can circumnavigate the Earth by sailing all the way around it. Next, we have mal. That means bad. So if something malfunctions, like this robot, it has gone bad. It doesn't work well. Another example is a malady. If you have a malady, you feel bad. Our next stem is post. It means after. Postscript. If you've written a letter and realized, oh, I forgot something and put PS at the end, that's a postscript. Postseason. In baseball, well, that's the time of the season after the regular season. If you're watching the World Series, that's part of the postseason. Equi means equal. An example is equilateral. This triangle is an equilateral triangle because all 3 sides have the same length. Equivalent, well, that's also equal. That's an equal value. These fractions are equivalent. They have the same value. Our final stem is ante, which means before. An antecedent is the noun that comes before its pronoun, like you see here. Devin loves his dog. Devin is the antecedent. Anterior is the front part of something. Can you think of more words with these stems? Take a moment and try to think of some now. I thought of circumvent, malicious, postmodern, equidistant, and antechamber. Now it's time for our analogy. Today we have circumnavigate is to ship as, well, circumnavigate is the action and the ship is the vehicle needed to perform that action. So let's look at our choices and see what goes with it. Postscript is to letter, orbit is to satellite, or equivocate is to speaker. What did you choose? Orbit is to satellite is correct. The satellite is the vehicle needed to perform the action of orbiting. Our advanced word this week is circumspect. Of course, we know circum means around. Spec means to look. So this literally means to look around, which circumspect means to be cautious, careful, and on the lookout. When might you be circumspect? How might you use circumspect in a sentence? Take a moment and try to write one now. Now you're going to match the stem to the picture that goes with it. Take a moment and try to match each of the stems and pictures now. All right, circum goes with circumference. Mal, well, that means bad. Post went with the PS, the postscript. Equa goes with those equivalent fractions. And ante, well, I know that means before. How did you do matching the cards? Your mission this week. Continue to search for the words with these 5 stems in books you read and even listen for them in videos that you watch. Share these words and stems with your family and remember, tell them what they mean. See you next week when we go over 5 more stems. Bye!
Hi, I'm Lizzie Mejia. I'm one of the instructional coaches from Barcroft Elementary School. Today's reading lesson focuses on the strategy, survey the text. Recently, I've had a lot of extra time to walk around my neighborhood, and as I've taken in the views, I've seen a lot of construction. There's even a new house being built. As I studied the progress, I realized that there is a first step before construction begins. We can't just start by digging in the ground. The first step is that people come to survey the land. These people are called surveyors. Surveyors look over the area and study it in detail. Only after the survey has happened does the construction actually begin. This is just like work that nonfiction readers do. Readers first survey the text. There are several steps that readers go through to work on this strategy. The first thing that readers do is look at the big things that jump out at them. The text features. Some of the text features they study are titles, subtitles and headings, visuals, and captions. Once they've studied the text features, nonfiction readers ask themselves, what do most of these text features have in common? Once they've thought about the similarities, nonfiction text readers say what they think the text is mostly about. This gives them a main idea statement. Let's try out these first few steps in the strategy. We are going to use an article from the September 2019 edition from the National Geographic Explorer magazine. I'm going to begin surveying the text by studying the cover page. Right away, the title jumps out at me, Warm Up, Cool Down, and makes me think about temperature. I'm also noticing all the different animals around on the cover page. I'm going to jot down those ideas. Temperature, animals. As I continue to survey the text, I'm going to pay attention to the subtitles, keeping that key question in mind. What do these nonfiction text features have in common? I see soaking up the sun. As I scroll, I next see heat from the inside. So sun and heat kind of go together. See the difference? I'm not really noticing a similarity there. A living furnace. Well, I know that furnaces make things hotter, so again, we're connecting to that idea of heat. How to beat the heat, so like how to cool yourself down. And then lastly, how to turn up the heat, so how to get warmer. I'm noticing that each of these subtitles has to do with the idea of temperature, but more specifically, making things either warmer or hotter or colder. For my next step, I'm going to study the photographs. I see an iguana, a kangaroo, some kind of fox, I think, a dog. Here I see a lot more animals, a cat, some kind of alligator, a lizard, and then I know I have the lizard video and lizard photograph on this page. So I'm noticing that there are lots of different animals, so I want to add in that details because it's not just one kind of animal, it's many different types. So animals, lots of different ones. My final step is going to be to pay attention to the captions, keeping that main idea in mind of what all these text features have in common. So this desert lizard basks in the sun to warm itself. Energy from the sun helps this desert lizard dart and dash. So sun, warming itself. These labels show me hotter and colder. By fanning its ears, this elephant begins to cool down. This spider's body is cooler than the environment. This cat generates its own heat. Warm footprints, soaks up the sun's rays, body temperature rises. Here I see dogs don't sweat, instead they pant to cool down. This Phoenix fox uses its big ears to cool down. Okay, so you're probably noticing this pattern too, these similarities. These captions keep talking about temperature and how animals cool down and warm up. But I'm also noticing how they give me some information that sometimes the animals do it on their own, and then sometimes the animals need the environment to help them do that. So I want to add in that information. So animals either cool down their bodies or warm them up. Sometimes they can do this on their own, and sometimes they need the environment, like the sun, to help them. My next step in this strategy is I want to look over those ideas and come up with what I think the main idea statement is. So as I notice these jots that I've put down, they all have to do with temperature in different animals and how animals keep their bodies at the right temperature, either warming them up or cooling them down. So I'm going to say that this article is mostly about how animals keep their bodies at the right temperature. We've seen the first few steps that nonfiction readers go through in the survey the text strategy. Next, nonfiction readers use what they think the text is mostly about. They do this as they complete the final steps of the strategy. Nonfiction readers read the text with the main idea in mind. As they read the text, they check to see if the facts fit with the main idea statement they've already made, or if they do not fit with the main idea statement. After pulling the details, nonfiction readers revise the main idea statement based on the new information they have. Let's try out the final steps in the strategy. On the left side of the screen, you see the article Warm Up, Cool Down. On the right side of the screen is a Google Doc. This is the activity you'll complete at the end of the lesson. At the top of the Google Doc, I'm going to add in the jots from the first 3 steps of the strategy. I'm going to paste in a picture, but you can type them in if you'd prefer. I'm also going to add what I think the article is mostly about, because I want to make sure that as I read, I keep this main idea statement in mind. So this article is mostly about how animals keep their bodies at the right temperature. As I read the article, I'm going to decide if facts that I read fit with the main idea or do not fit with the main idea. When they fit, I'll type them on the left side of the table, and if they do not fit, I'll put them on the right side of the table. Let's begin reading. Lizards, snakes, and other reptiles are ectotherms. Fish, insects, worms, and amphibians like frogs are ectotherms too. An ectotherm is an animal that produces very little heat inside its body. To warm up, the animal has to get its heat from the environment. So I'm going to pause here to decide if this fits with my main idea. It talks about how ectotherms don't make very much heat and need the environment to warm up. This connects to my main idea statement because it talks about how animals keep their bodies at the right temperatures. So I'm going to add this in. Ectotherms use the environment to keep their bodies warm. Let's keep reading. Unlike the lizard, these furry rodents don't need sunlight to get going in the morning. That's because squirrels and other mammals are endotherms. An endotherm is an animal that produces enough body heat to keep its insides warm. The squirrels don't have to wait on the sun. They can be active the moment they wake up. So can birds. They are endotherms too, and so can you. So here again, it's talking about how animals keep their bodies warm, but in this case, animals can do it on their own. It connects to my main idea statement, so I'm going to type it on the left side of the table. So endotherms make enough heat on their own to keep their bodies warm. see the difference. Have you ever held a lizard, a snake, or a turtle? Its body temperature is likely lower than yours. You couldn't tell that just by looking. You probably wouldn't be able to feel a difference either, but you can see the difference in thermal infrared images. They show how cool or warm an object is by measuring the amount of heat it gives off. As I pause here, I'm noticing that this section talks about temperature, but it's not really dealing with how animals keep their bodies at the right temperature. So I'm going to add this to the right side of my table to say it does not fit with my main idea because it doesn't fit tightly enough. So thermal infrared images show how hot or cold an object is. I'm going to continue reading the article, and I'll decide if the facts fit with my main idea or do not, and add them to my table as I read. I've finished reading the article and added facts to both the left side and the right side of the table. I'm now ready for my final step. For my final step of the strategy, I want to review the information in the table above and revise my main idea statement. So as I look at the information I've put in, on the left side of the table, I have information about how ectotherms need the environment to keep their bodies warm and how endotherms make enough heat on their own. I also added information about how animals do things like sweating, panting, licking themselves to get themselves cool, and do things like shivering and hibernating to keep themselves warm. And finally, that animals have fur and blubber to keep their bodies warm. On the right side of the table, I want to think about this additional information that ectotherms and endotherms have specific characteristics that help them survive. And endotherms can live anywhere in the world, while ectotherms need a specific climate to survive. So although these loosely connect to my original main idea statement, I didn't talk about survival at all. So I want to make sure that as I revise my main idea, I consider the facts from both the left side and the right side of the table. I'm going to copy my original main idea statement and paste it down here to help me so that as I revise it, I can make sure that I'm being more precise. All right, I think this article is mostly about how animals have specific characteristics to keep their bodies at the right temperature to survive. So you can see this is similar to my original main idea statement, but I've added in the idea of having specific characteristics and that these characteristics help the animals survive. Now it's your turn to try out this strategy. Use the article Whale Sharks Sink or Swim from the March 2020 edition of the National Geographic Explorer magazine. To access the magazine, scan the QR code. The password is SYNC, and the article begins on page 3. To access the Google document to complete the student activity, use the QR code at the bottom of the screen. When you are done, you'll want to make sure to complete your reflection. Share your Google Doc with a family member. Tell them the steps you used to survey the text, and share the article's main idea. If you're looking for something else to do, you can be the teacher. Have a family member try out this strategy using a different article from the magazine. Bye for now.
Hi everybody, my name is Melinda Metz and I am a 4th grade teacher at Barcroft Elementary. Go Eagles! Thank you everybody for welcoming me into your home today. I was thinking about making connections and the idea of things that go together. Have you ever done this when walking down the street?
Peanut butter, jelly, salt, pepper, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division.
Just like those girls mentioned, multiplication and division go together. Today as mathematicians, we're going to think about how we might use multiplication strategies to help us estimate division quotients. But first, let's begin with our number sense routine. For this number sense routine, it's a countdown estimistries. So I'm going to give you some clues and you're going to make an estimate. We want to thank Steve Wyborney for creating this estimistries for us. Here we go. Take a look at that glass. How many dominoes are in that glass? Estimate. How many dominoes do you think are in that glass? Well, here's time for our first clue. Clue number 1. The answer does not include the digits 9 or 8. So let's see clue number 2. The answer does not include the digits 7 or 6. Okay, are you revising your estimate? Here we go. Clue number 3. The answer does not include the digits 5 or 4. Clue number 4. The digits in the answer are unique. That means no digit in the answer appears more than once. So, you're left with a few numbers, and our final clue, the answer does not include the digit 2. Okay. So let's think about this. You've probably revised your estimate or your guess a few times. We know that the only digits left are a 0, a 1, or a 3, and you can't use them more than once. So what's your final guess? Which estimate makes the most sense? Say it out loud now. Here's the reveal. In fact, there are 103 dominoes in that class. Good job! For today's lesson, we're going to be working within the strand of computation and estimation. We will know if we are successful if we meet these targets. If we can use mental math to estimate the quotients of whole numbers and estimate the quotients of decimal numbers. So remember, mental math is going to require us to think reasonably about numbers. It doesn't mean we don't explain our thinking and we're just making guesses, but we're using our reasoning and what we know about numbers and number sense to solve these division problems. Before we begin, we just want to review some vocabulary. If we look at these symbols, we know that those are symbols for division. So today we're going to be talking a lot about finding quotients. Say that word with me. Quotient. The quotient is the result when two or more numbers or quantities are divided. So we're thinking about division. In this example, 3 is the quotient when 18 is divided by 6. What is the quotient in this example? That's right. 90 is the quotient from 360 divided by 4. Good thinking. These two examples are showing us expressions. Say that word with me. Expression. Expressions are a representation of a quantity. So they do not use the equal sign, but we're going to be thinking about expressions of multiplication or division that might help us to find some quotients. Equal sign, and when we make estimates, we're just getting a rough about how much. We want to find out what something might be, quote, closest to. So we're going to be thinking about making division estimates today. When we use division estimates, we are going to be thinking about benchmark numbers or friendly numbers or landmark numbers. They all mean about the same thing. Numbers that are easy to work with. And today, you're going to find that friendly numbers for finding quotients might not always be the numbers that you're used to thinking about as friendly numbers, but we want to think what's going to help us to be able to find quotients easily in our head. We're going to find the closest quotient. Let's read the directions together. Look at your answer choices. Make a reasonable estimate. Okay, here are my answer choices. A, 12. B, 120. C, 1,200. Well, I haven't even seen the question yet, but I'm going to keep those in my mind. Okay, so let's say that I was swimming some laps at the swimming pool and I swam at 3 different times. In all, I swam 362 meters at the swimming pool. So my question might be, how many meters did I swim in each of those 3 sets? Is it going to be about 12, about 120, or about 1,200? You have a pretty good idea by now? Yeah. 362 divided by 3, we're going to get some friendly numbers. So we're going to think about using 360 divided by 3. We can do that easily in our head. 36 divided by 3 is 12. 360 divided by 3 is going to be 120. I swim about 120 meters in each set. Good work. Let's try another example. We're going to find the closest quotient. Let's read the directions. Look at your answer choices. Make a reasonable estimate. Our answer choices are A, 75, B, 100, C, 125. Now let's take a look at the problem. I have some beads there. It looks like I have 511 beads in all, and I'm going to make some earrings. So I'm going to use 4 beads for each earring that I make. So my question is going to be, how many earrings can I make if I have 4 beads on each earring? We're thinking about 511 divided by 4. Give me a thumbs up when you've made your answer choice. What would be the closest quotient? Here's what I was thinking. I was thinking of dividing in parts. So I was thinking 400 divided by 4, I can do that easily in my head. That's going to be 100. But I'm going to do another 100 divided by 4 because 400 and 100 is going to be 500. So 400 divided by 4 is going to be 100. And then another 100 divided by 4 would be 25. So in all, it's going to be about 125. You can make about 125 earrings if you use 4 beads for each earring. Good thinking. You notice how even when we're estimating, we still want to explain our thinking. You can say it out loud with me too. Okay, which is the best estimate? Let's read the directions together. Which expression would give you a better estimate for 58 and 9/10 divided by 6? Which expression? Well, let's take a look. Oh, for example, let's think about this. If I was measuring very precisely and I had some string, and I had 58 and 9/10 of the string, and I wanted to cut it into 6 pieces, how long would each piece of string be? Okay, let's take a look at some expressions. What would give me a better estimate? 56 divided by 6 or 60 divided by 6? Yeah, that's right. I'm going to think about 60 divided by 6. Well, one, because 58 and 9/10 is close to 60. It's very close to 60. So 60 divided by 6 is going to be the expression that I'm going to use to help me think about it. So 58 and 6/10 divided by 6 is going to be about 10 inches. So I'm going to need about 10 inches of string for each of those pieces. We're going to try a new strategy. This time, we're going to make estimates for quotients by thinking about multiples. Multiples are the numbers that we say when we skip count. Read the directions to yourself. Give me a thumbs up when you've read them. Round to friendly numbers. Make a reasonable estimate. Okay, let's think about some friendly numbers. If I have 475 Legos and I want to put them into 6 boxes, right? All of my Legos came in 6 boxes. About how many Legos would be in each box? I am thinking about the division expression 475 divided by 6. How might I be able to do that in my head? This time, I'm going to think about multiples of 6. Let's take a look. I've written out some multiples of 6. 6 times 1, 6 times 2, 6 times 3. What I notice is that 6 times 8 is 48. And 48 reminds me of 480. And if I know 6 times 8 is 48, I will know that 6 times 80 is 480. So I can think about 480 divided by 6, making that connection between multiplication and division. And 480 divided by 6 is going to be 80. So there are going to be about 80 Legos in each box. Yeah. We want to think about the connection between multiplication and division and using what we know about multiples to help us divide and find reasonable quotients. Let's try another one using that same strategy. We're going to think about multiples. Directions. Find friendly numbers. Make a reasonable estimate. Okay, this time maybe we're working on a farm and we have 350 eggs that we've collected, and we're going to put the eggs into those cartons. And those cartons come in cartons of 12, that's a dozen. So if we have 350 eggs and we're putting 12 in each dozen for a carton, how many cartons are we going to need? Okay, that seems like a problem that I might need to do if I was working on a farm. So we're going to think about 350 divided by 12. Let's think about multiples of 12. 12 times 1, 12 times 2, 12 times 3 is 360. Now, if I know 12 times 3, I can know 12 times 30. 12 times 30 is 60. Great. So I'm going to use, instead of 350, the friendly number that I'm going to choose is 360. 360 divided by 12, you said it, that's going to be 30. The eggs will be packaged in about 30 containers. We'll have about 30 dozen eggs that we've collected. Today we used several different strategies when we were finding which estimates were closest. We used strategies of finding multiples. We used strategies of looking for friendly numbers. We also used strategies of breaking apart numbers to put them together to find numbers that can work for us. Remember, we want to develop strong number sense and be able to compute and reason in our mind with what we're doing as mathematicians. Keep up the good work. Today, for our reflection and our family tip, we want to think about the work of having a growth mindset. There's a researcher and author named Carol Dweck who we think about a lot in education these days, and a growth mindset basically is that when you believe something, if you believe you can grow, you can grow. So we ask our students often to have a positive mindset and one where they can think about their growth. Today for our reflection, we want to ask this question. What did you do that allowed you to be successful as a mathematician?
My reflection, what I think helped me to become a successful mathematician today was I was in a quiet room sitting on my bed by myself, just working on my math, and I felt relaxed and refreshed so I could really work on my math.
We want to thank Danny for sharing his response with us. Today and every day you want to think about what you can do to be successful as a mathematician.
Hi, I'm Erin San. I am a teacher and a mindfulness coach,
And what that means is I work with people just like you to help them use all of their senses to notice what's happening in their lives from moment to moment without any judgment, so they can worry and stress less and smile a whole lot more. Today, I'm going to share with you a breathing exercise that will help you in a moment where you're noticing that you're feeling anxious or uncomfortable. Anxiety is our body's response to thinking scary thoughts about situations. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and maybe you're starting to feel or continuing to feel anxious about things going on in school, things going on in the world, things going on with your friendships or at home. Anxiety is normal. Everyone feels it. But it's not something that we have to have overwhelm us. We can use our breath to help us feel a lot more comfortable when we notice that we're feeling uncomfortable. So this exercise is one of my favorites. It's called box breathing. I want you to start to visualize in your mind a box or a simple square. As you know, a square has 4 sides and the sides are even. That's going to help us with our box breathing today. So get comfortable. Your eyes can be open or closed. If your eyes are closed, start to imagine in your mind this box. You can draw it in any color you like. Begin drawing the box starting at the bottom left corner and draw up to the top left corner. Then draw across the top to the top right corner and down the right side. And then close the box at the bottom. So you're going up the left side, across the top, down the right side, and across the bottom. Now we're going to start to coordinate our breath with that visual. And as you inhale, imagine breathing all the way up the side of the box. Hold your breath as you go across the top. Exhale as you breathe down. And hold your breath again at the bottom as you close that box. I'm going to begin counting for you. Notice how it feels to breathe in this way. So when you're ready, begin to breathe up the side of the box for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath at the top as you go across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale down the side of the box. 4, 3, 2, 1. Then hold your breath again at the bottom as you close the box. 1, 2, 3, 4. And we'll do that once again with me guiding you. Inhale up the left side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale down the right side. 4, 3, 2, 1. And close at the bottom by holding 1, 2, 3, 4. You can do this as many times as you'd like. You can enjoy this box breath whenever you feel you really need it. It's always there for you, and your breath will always help arrive in the present moment. This moment is a space where you are safe. Thank you so much for practicing box breathing with us today. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Second Step lessons are created by Committee for Children, who owns and controls all rights therein.
Permission was granted to district to make and broadcast this video for educational use only by district parents, families, teachers, and counselors with students currently learning via television broadcast due to the impact of COVID-19. No other use of this video or second step lessons is permitted. Committee for Children, 2020. Hi everyone, it's nice to see you again. This week we're going to talk about strong emotions. We're going to focus on managing anxiety today. Anxiety is that uncomfortable feeling you get when you're worried about something that might or might not happen. During this time of school closure, you might be having more feelings of anxiety than usual. You might feel more anxiety because you're worried about your loved ones or your family and friends. You're probably off your regular routine and haven't been able to do some things that you normally would. Your family members might be stressed about being at home, and you're just trying to adjust to a new way of learning and interacting, even with your teachers virtually too. This lesson can help manage this anxiety so you can better navigate a difficult time. Remember, you can use the calming down steps to help manage anxious feelings. Stop. Name your feeling, then calm down using a strategy like belly breathing, counting, or positive self-talk. We're going to take a look at a situation where someone is feeling anxious. As you watch the following video, think about how Aaron could follow the calming down steps to manage his anxiety.
My class is going on an overnight camping trip. I really wish I didn't have to go. Just thinking about it making me feel tense all over. I'm assigned to attend with 2 other kids, DeAndre and Ravi. They're best friends. I don't want to be in their group. I don't know them very well. They'll probably ignore me. They both like football. They'll probably just talk about that the whole time. Maybe I'll get homesick. Maybe they'll make fun of me. My stomach is really starting to hurt. I'm really not sure about this trip.
Aaron is feeling anxious. How can we tell? Well, he could feel tense all over his body. He was thinking pretty bad or negative thoughts about what might happen, and he looked miserable and lonely. And his stomach hurt too. He felt those anxious feelings in his body. What is he anxious about? Well, he's worrying and thinking that he might not get along with the 2 other boys very well. Sharing that tent for the overnight trip is making him think about all the things that could go wrong or might not be fun. He's anxious about getting homesick. Maybe he won't have anything to talk about with the other 2 kids. Maybe they won't be nice to him or like him. There's a lot of worry and a lot of anxiety that Aaron's feeling. So what could he do to calm down that anxiety? Maybe he could use those calming down steps, right? He could tell himself to relax, do some breathing, right? Maybe use some positive self-talk instead of the negative self-talk that's making him feel worse. Think about what Aaron could do to help himself feel less anxiety the next time he's worried about an uncomfortable situation. Maybe he could talk to his parents or talk to a teacher about how he's feeling. He could talk to a friend, tell himself it's not a big deal, think positively about it. Those are all things that Aaron could do next time he's feeling anxious. But let's see what he does to manage anxiety about this overnight field trip.
Okay, Aaron, cut it out. Get a grip. Just take a couple of deep breaths. It's gonna be all right. This will probably be nice. You never know. Maybe it'll be fun. I can handle this.
Aaron was able to calm down his anxiety by using the calming down steps. First, he used his stop signal and said to himself, "All right, Aaron, cut it out, get a grip." Then he took a few deep breaths to help himself think more clearly. Then he used self-talk to think positively about what might happen and give himself the confidence that he can do it. The next time you're feeling anxious or worried about something, try using those calming down steps to help manage your anxiety. It'll take practice, but I know you can do it. See you on Wednesday.
Hola, queridos matemáticos. Yo soy la señorita Lua, maestra de las escuelas públicas de Arlington, Virginia. Estoy tan contenta de estar aquí con ustedes el día de hoy presentando videos de matemáticas, porque el día de hoy eso es lo que vamos a aprender, matemáticas. ¡Oh! Matemáticas, qué emocionante, ¿verdad que sí? Sé que te van a encantar y que vas a aprender muchísimo, así que pon atención. Prepárate para aprender y prepara tus materiales. Nos vemos en la lección. Antes de empezar, necesitarás un papel y un lápiz, o una pizarra y un rotulador. Comenzaremos con una rutina numérica, que nos ayudará a pensar sobre los números de manera diferente. Nos ayudará a hacer conexiones entre los números. ¿Están listos? Oh, eso parece. Pues a comenzar. A continuación, tendremos una lista de 4 números, 54, 64, 81 y 144. ¿Cuál no pertenece? Piensa en lo siguiente. ¿Tendrán algo en común o diferente? ¿Entre qué números son divisibles? ¿Son números pares o impares? ¿Son números primos o compuestos? Aquellos que están en quinto grado, esta es una buena pregunta. ¿Qué más observas? Ahora tendrás unos segundos para pensar en tus ideas. Escríbelas o conversa con alguien sobre ellas. Ahora cuéntame, ¿qué encontraste? Te contaré lo que yo encontré. 3 de los números tienen 2 dígitos. 3 de los números tienen el número 4. 3 de los números son números pares y 1 es número impar. Los 4 son números compuestos. El mayor factor común de 54, 64 y 144 es el número 2. ¿Qué tal la suma de los dígitos? 3 de ellos suman a 9. Puede que tú hayas encontrado muchísimas más cosas. No te preocupes. Escríbelo en tu cuaderno y tenlo como referencia. Hemos llegado a la lección. Estrategias de la división. Nuestro objetivo es que podrás usar una estrategia de división para dividir números enteros. ¡Vamos a ello! Algo muy importante de cada lección es el vocabulario. En esta página puedes observar el vocabulario en español y en inglés. Es importante poder reconocer estas palabras en 2 idiomas. Primero, tenemos la palabra dividendo. El dividendo es el número que nos dice cuánto tenemos en total. El divisor es el número que nos dice en cuántos grupos tenemos que dividir ese total. Y el cociente es el resultado de esos grupos. Ahora, repite conmigo. Dividendo, divisor, cociente, dividend, divisor, quotient. Ahora mira los 3 ejemplos que te pongo ahí. El primero es una manera de dividir muy estándar, con el símbolo de división. El segundo, vemos el método de la cajita, en el que podemos dividir números muy grandes. Y el tercero es la división como fracción. Recuerda que la fracción sí es una división. Ahora toma unos segundos para estudiar esas palabras y recordar ese vocabulario antes de comenzar. Ahora vamos a ver 4 ejemplos de cómo dividir un número. Los 4 ejemplos son usar modelos y dibujar, usar el algoritmo de la división, el modelo de área o cocientes parciales. ¿Qué usarías tú para dividir 2367 entre 3 grupos iguales? El primer ejemplo que vamos a ver es el de modelos o dibujar. Aquí podemos observar cómo se crearon 3 rectángulos para representar 3 grupos. En esos grupos dibujamos rectángulos para representar las centenas, líneas para representar las decenas y puntitos para representar las unidades. Así que comenzamos a dividir y dibujar una figura para cada grupo hasta que ya no teníamos más números. Y de esa manera llegamos a tener el mismo número en 3 grupos diferentes. Ahora continuamos con el algoritmo tradicional. Como podemos ver, tenemos los mismos números, pero ahora están puestos de manera diferente. 2367, que es nuestro dividendo, está dentro de una cajita. Y el número 3, que es nuestro divisor, está fuera de la cajita. Entonces, tenemos que pensar que cada dígito tiene importancia. Como puedes observar, el divisor intenta ver cuántas veces puede entrar a uno de los dígitos que está dentro de la cajita, hasta llegar a 0 o a un residuo muy pequeño. Este método es muy probable que lo hayas aprendido con tu familia o que sea el que más utilices. Toma un segundo para observar qué es lo que está sucediendo con los números. A continuación tenemos cocientes parciales. Como pueden observar, cocientes parciales es muy similar al algoritmo tradicional de división. Es decir, el 3 está fuera de una cajita, el divisor, y el dividendo está dentro de la cajita, 2367. Para este método es necesario estimar. Usamos millares, centenas, decenas y unidades para poder acercarnos a un número sin tener que dividir cada uno de ellos. Por ejemplo, tomamos 2367 y pensamos en 2300. Ahora, 3, ¿por qué número me va a dar cerca de 2300? Pues yo sé que 3 por 7 me da 21. Así que si multiplico 3 por 700, me debe dar 2100. Y así continúas estimando hasta tener tu respuesta. El último ejemplo es el modelo de área y es muy probable que este es el que aprendas en clase. A continuación te mostraré un buen ejemplo de cómo hacerlo, paso por paso. Bueno, queridos matemáticos, hemos llegado al modelo de área. Comenzamos con 2 números, 966 dividido entre 7. Recordemos que 966 es nuestro dividendo, es decir, es el número que tenemos que dividir entre 7 grupos iguales. Así que para hacer esto, primero tenemos que dibujar un rectángulo. El rectángulo estará dividido entre 3 columnas. La primera columna representará el área de las centenas, la segunda el área de las decenas y la tercera el área de las unidades. Para comenzar, tenemos que tomar en cuenta que el total del área de ese rectángulo es de 966. Recordemos un poco que el largo por el alto te da el área. Así que en este ejemplo, el 7 será el largo y el 966 será nuestro ancho. El siguiente paso es pensar qué número multiplicado por 7, que sea en las centenas, o sea, 100, 200, 300, me llevará más cerca a 966. Pues en este caso, creo que 100 por 7 nos dará un número muy cerca de 966 sin pasarnos. Así que 7 por 100 me dará 700. Y ahora lo que tengo que hacer es restar 966 por 700. Y eso nos dará 266. Ahora, ese resto que nos quedó lo vamos a poner en la columna de las decenas. y tenemos que calcular 7 por algún número de 2 dígitos que nos pueda dar 266. Así que podemos comenzar con algo muy simple, como por ejemplo 20. 20 por 7 me dará 140. No, es muy pequeño. Ahora voy a pensar en 30. 7 por 30 me dará 210. Sí, es más cerca. Si continúo a 40, me pasaré demasiado. Así que me voy a quedar con 30. Y 266 menos 210 es 56. Ahora, ese 56 lo tengo que poner en el lado de las unidades. Y ahora tengo que hacer el mismo proceso. Pensar, ¿qué unidad, qué número multiplicado por 7 me va a dar 56 o cerca de 56? En este caso es facilísimo. 8. 8 por 7 me da 56. Así que 56 menos 56 me da 0. Y terminé. Y ahora lo único que tengo que hacer es ver los números de arriba. 100 más 30 es 130. 130 más 8 es 138. Así que mi respuesta es 138. Lo logramos. Es tu turno. Reflexión. 556 dividido entre 4 es igual a... Resuelve el problema de arriba usando 2 métodos diferentes. Suerte. Finalmente llegamos al final. Aquí están mis respuestas. Míralas, ¿se parecen a las tuyas? Aquí tengo los 4 ejemplos. Toma un momento para que observes la respuesta de cada uno de ellos. Estas estrategias son fabulosas. Toma un segundo y piensa, ¿qué estrategia te gusta más? ¿Cuál de las estrategias se te hace más difícil? ¿Tuviste algún error? ¿Dónde? ¿Cómo? ¿Lo puedes corregir? Si sacaste todo bien, felicidades. Estás preparado para números más grandes. Familias, gracias por apoyar el aprendizaje de matemáticas de nuestros estudiantes. A continuación, verán una actividad que pueden hacer en casa para seguir practicando. Esto no termina aquí. Querida familia, ahora les presentaré algunas actividades para practicar en casa. Estas 2 primeras son muy fáciles y que practicarán el cálculo mental del estudiante. Por ejemplo, al ir al supermercado, piensen en cuántos objetos tienen en el carrito. Después, haga que su estudiante calcule cuántas bolsas va a necesitar o, si usted ya le da un número de bolsas, cuántos productos tienen que ir en cada bolsa. Otra sugerencia sería hacerle preguntas. Por ejemplo, compré 4 manzanas y pagué $24. ¡Ay! ¿Cuánto me costó cada manzana? Esa es una división muy simple, pero que puede ayudar con el cálculo mental. Aquí tienen una segunda actividad que pueden practicar en casa y que puede ser divertida. Necesitarán objetos de casa, como un cartón de huevos vacío o cualquier frijol o bolita o canica que tengan por ahí. Le pueden asignar un valor a cada uno de los contadores. Al blanco le pueden asignar 1000, al marrón 100, al negro 10 y al garbanzo 1. De esa manera, cuando tú les des un número para dividir, por ejemplo, 230 entre 4, pues pondrán un frijol café en cada circulito y de allí tendrán que contar cuántos frijolitos blancos o negros tiene que ir en cada uno de los huequitos. Espero que hayan disfrutado de la lección del día de hoy y mucha suerte en casa. Espero que se diviertan.